reminding you this National Bosses Day, don't do your best, do his best. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice for the government mandate. You get it on. Jason Mayhem Miller, fresh from the Octagon in studio. Chris Jericho is zooming in, our old friend. 6-time world champion in the WWF and beyond. Good to see you, Chris.
It's 8-time world champion.
Shit, says 6-time. Well, did you pick up 2 belts in between the time we wrote your bio and now? Because otherwise I'm going to yell at my staff.
Yeah, yell at your staff. It's National Bosses Day, and they've already let you down today. They're not supposed to do their best, Adam. They're supposed to do your best, and your best would know that it's 8 times.
You know, that story came from many, many years ago. We had a dignitary. Somebody was coming here who was important, like a big-time actor or something, and the parking lot was a mess, and there were boxes everywhere in the parking lot. And I said to my assistant, get this parking lot cleaned up before Mr. Christoph Waltz comes in here or something. And he said, all right. And then about 10 minutes before the guy pulled up, I walked out, and it was still full of boxes. And I said, Matt, what happened with putting away the boxes? And he looked at me like everyone in their 30s does now, and they go, hey, man, I did my best. And I said, well, evidently your best is not good, so next time do my best.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the fucking boxes cleaned up.
Right.
So Terrifier 3, which is, I hear, may have been #1 in the box office last weekend.
The #1 movie in America, if you can believe it.
Wow. Yeah, it's a sad testimonial to America.
It's an amazing testimonial. The reason why, Adam, is it's basically an indie horror movie, which you know, years ago would never even get a chance to sniff #1, but here we are, just by the word of mouth and just by the fan base that the franchise has amassed over the last 5 years or so. So yeah, it's a sad testament to the morals of America, but it's a very cool
Adam,
testament to filmmaking.
You really are besmirching the Terrifier, Art the Clown? He's a fantastic. I mean, his name is Art on purpose because they brought horror films up to the level of art. I have to admit. Because when I watched it, the first one, I was like, oh, this is garbage. Then 7 minutes in, I was like, this is weird. And then 12 minutes in, I was like, yo, this should not be allowed on any TV anywhere. That's the craziest movie I ever seen. The chainsaw scene alone. Oh, my God. I'm just sorry.
Well,
that it was shocking and appalling. It was shock-palling.
Shock-palling? All I was saying is, back in the day when Sophie's Choice or Room with a View was #1, we were a more civilized nation. That's all.
Classy Adam Carolla.
Well, listen.
I think that it's almost like putting it in modern terms, but also like from a past very hit movie. It's almost like a 2024 version of The Exorcist, to where if you go back to 1973 or whatever, The Exorcist was so shocking and no one had ever seen anything like it, and it became a huge hit. And this is kind of the same vibe, just with a modern twinge to it.
Well, Terrifier, the first one, first off, I felt like it came out 10 minutes ago, but I'm old, and then there's COVID, and my calendar's all screwed up. But when the first one came out 4 years ago or 3.5 years ago, it hasn't been that long. I
think it was 7 years ago.
That long ago. It came on with a bang. I mean, it just captured the zeitgeist of America, and the first one, I mean, the budget couldn't have been more than $3 million.
That's what I mean.
No, Adam, $30,000.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. It looked so janky that I thought there was no use in watching it. But then after a while, I realized I was playing with the big boys.
$30,000, and it must have made millions. I mean, I don't even. We can look it up. But now it's a full blown franchise.
Well, so what happened was the first one was, like we said, was kind of a real indie type of movie that created a word of mouth due to how shocking it was and due to Art the Clown. As Joe said, the killer, who we had never seen something like this in years. It was kind of a modern day Michael Myers, or Jason Voorhees. Then the second one, here's the thing. The second one, the budget went up to $250,000. and then it got a week limited release in the theater. Well, during that week, somebody passed out because of how disgusting it was, and somebody else threw up. That got around, word of mouth, it went viral, and suddenly it became a huge thing. I remember seeing Jerry O'Connell talking about it on The View.
Wow.
Like everyone's talking about it. So that $250 budget ended up making $15 million.
Damn.
And as you know, Adam, as soon as that happens, all of Hollywood is abuzz about this indie movie that, made millions and millions of dollars. And that's opened the door directly for 3 to become the huge hit that it is.
Yeah, currently climbing toward $25 million. But I was asking Byron, what did the first one do on the $30,000 budget? Because that is insane. And yeah, as soon as Hollywood catches a whiff that you're making them some money, they come knocking real That's fast. Right. Have you on the subject of wrestling? Many people have watched the Mr. McMahon series on Netflix. I don't know if you watched it. I don't know if you have any personal thoughts about it. I don't know what your standing is with Vince. Give us whatever you know.
I mean, I watched it, and it's interesting. That he's a very polarizing guy, right? So, there's some good, there's some bad, and you kind of see all of that in the documentary. So it's just interesting. The timing of it with everything else that's going on. But, I worked for Vince for a long time and had some good experiences and had some bad experiences. But, a boss is a boss, right? Not everything can be great. But as far as the wrestling business goes, I learned a lot about the actual wrestling side of things from him. So it was interesting to watch the documentary. But yeah, like I said, it's funny how things come and go so quickly. That was the big thing for a while. Like it was only a month ago, and then we move on to the next thing and the next thing. And then, like something like Terrifier comes out, everyone's talking about that, and then something else will come out. So it really just goes in phases and waves. But yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I guess what you're referring to is a scandal. I suppose. I mean, at the beginning, they were like, we shot all this before whatever the scandal.
Right. Before
whatever
that happened.
Scandal was. And yeah, he's a guy you can hate and sort of feel sorry for because of how he came up, and his dad. And it's also a real interesting history of wrestling, like how it used to be regional and how he kind of took it from this regional thing to a sort of worldwide dominance kind of thing. What would you say your biggest match was?
Well, I mean, I'm still wrestling now in the business in AEW. I wrestled last week, as a matter of fact. We're on TBS and on TNT, and I mean, it's amazing just how big the wrestling business is at this point in time. And I'll answer your question in a second, but when I started, it was, very much you're working per match. You put together a couple tours of Japan, and, I had a pretty good year. I think the best year I had before I signed nationally was $40,000. And that was pretty good for a 25-year-old kid from Canada. And then suddenly you sign with a bigger company, and there was WCW and there was WWF, and now with AEW, there's hundreds of millions of dollars at stake now with the television contracts that wrestling provides because of the live sports element. And it's kind of the last bastion of advertising dollars is the live sports, and wrestling is included in that. You're not going to DVR it and watch the game back later, which is why you're able to get such big contracts. And my company just signed for $185 million a year with Warner Brothers Discovery, which makes AEW the second most profitable wrestling company ever behind WWE, just to show you how monumental the business has become. So, I still enjoy working. I had a great match just last Saturday in Seattle against a guy called Mark Briscoe. But I mean, Shawn Michaels was a great opponent. The Rock was a great opponent. John Moxley. There's a whole list of guys that I've enjoyed working over the years, but I'm still in the midst of it. I'm still wrestling. So it's hard to say this was the best match ever when I can just say maybe the best match is still to come. Who knows?
I bet it is. It strikes me, I've never done either one of these two sports, wrestling or pornography, but it strikes me that there must be some similarities. Like there's people you want to work with and people you had a bad experience with and don't, a lot of the women in porn would go, I don't want to work with John Leslie anymore. That guy tried to choke me halfway into the scene. Like, I'm not working with that dude.
Yeah.
I guess in wrestling, there's got to be elements of, this guy's great to work with, because it is, wrestling porn. And there's a definite give and a take, and there's got to be some guys that are little like, I don't want to get in there with the Iron Sheik. He's rough.
It's
rough
funny
trade.
that you went to the porn as the common denominator, but it could be like anything in entertainment, acting or whatever it may be. There's certain guys you just have great chemistry with, and when you get to the highest of levels, like WWE or AEW, you don't have to worry about somebody, shooting on you, as we say, and trying to hook you and stretch you and beat you up for real. This is show business, so you're working together. But there's always guys that you have better chemistry with. It's just like anything. Like if you are an improv comic or a stand-up comic or whatever it may be, there's certain people that you like having on the bill because it's the vibe fits what you're doing. Or if you're doing a movie and you want to act with this guy because you always have good scenes and good takes. So yeah, it's like anything else. So there's guys that you like and there's guys that maybe you don't have quite the chemistry with, or maybe personally you might not see eye to eye with. But when you get on stage, you're on screen and it's live TV, and the most important thing is to put on the best show possible. So if you do have any issues at all, and those are rare, you leave them in the back and you put on the show. That's the most important thing.
But get specific then. Come on, burn somebody. Who's the jerk?
Oh my gosh.
Who's the anal abuser?
Listen, dude, I've been on Adam's show 50 times.
Oh, okay.
We don't.
We don't get dirty like that. All right. I was trying to throw up some clips. I was trying to get all jazzed up. My bad. Mayhem's at it again.
In porn, you can get shot on as well, and some people take umbrage with that. So there's a lot of similarities.
A lot of shooting going on.
So
Yeah.
I just wrote down Rowdy Roddy Piper because I had great experiences with him, and then it also struck me that you're Canadian and he's Canadian. I do believe. Right. I don't know if there's history. I mean, I know he predates you, but he was around when you were around too, right?
Well, kind of his kind of last days were some of. I was kind of in the middle of my career at that point in time. We worked together a few times, but as far as at least backstage promos and those sort of things. And I mean, Roddy was great. He's still kind of the gold standard for what you kind of want to be in the business, because he had such a great character and he was such a great talker, and that's why he was such a great actor as well. I was watching They Live the other day, and it still stands up. It's one of the great movies of the 80s, one of John Carpenter's best films. And the reason for that is, if you're a great character in wrestling, it really lends itself to movies and TV and film, because that's the basis of what wrestling is playing that role and connecting with the audience. And Roddy was so great at that. In the ring, maybe not the best technician, didn't have to be. He was the type of guy that could sell tickets by the promos, as we call them, by the interviews that he would do. He could piss people off. He could make people like him, and all the realms in between. So definitely somebody that for a guy like me, that's always been more into the character part of wrestling. And yes, I can work in the ring as well, but that's great. But the like I said, the personality and the charisma and all those sort of things is what really matters in wrestling. And Roddy was one of the best at it to this day. Very believable, completely off his rocker at times in real life. A lot of that's probably because he was a wrestler in the 80s. And a lot of that's probably because he's from Western Canada, like I am. So it lends itself to being a little bit more nutty when you're from a place where it gets to be colder than it is on Mars, which is where Winnipeg, where I'm from, sometimes it gets colder in Winnipeg than it is on the surface of Mars. So that makes it a little bit nuts.
I did a show in Winnipeg at the Burton Cummings Theater. Is that
Burton Cummings Theater? That's right. We've talked about Burton before.
Great vocals, man. And
I know you love him.
I fucking love him. Also, well, I'll take Burton Cummings and or Gary Puckett. Those are the two guys who could belt it out.
All right.
You guys
there you go.
Google their songs.
Gary Puckett.
And the Union Gap. So, yeah, Rowdy Roddy Piper, the first time I ever met him was Jimmy's cousin Sal's must have been 30th birthday. And Jimmy said, right. I want to use your house. I had a party house in the Valley. I bought a house just to play basketball, use the swimming pool, and have parties, you know. And so we used a party house, and I got a surprise for Sal. And so we're all in the back, and Jimmy had did the rich guy move, which is had someone go to his favorite chicken sandwich place in Arizona and pick up 50 chicken sandwiches and drive them back to Sherman Oaks, you know, that move. Yeah. And then at some point, a stretch limousine pulled up and the door opened and Rowdy Roddy got out of the limo and in full dress, you know, kilt and everything, and started walking in. And when he turned the corner, and cousin Sal, who's a wrestling nerd, and Rowdy's, he turned and looked at him. It was like it was Christmas for him, and he did the whole spiel. And then later we became friends with him, and so we'd invite him over to Jimmy's house to watch football on a Sunday, and We had one goofball friend, you know, the goofball friend. I don't know, his name was Dave or something. Rowdy, choke him out for everybody, would you? And it was all right, got this guy up and gave him the full choke, and he just ragdolled the guy right on Jimmy's deck in the back of his house. We're all just standing there looking at it. He was ready to go. I mean, he aimed to please.
The first time I ever met him, I was wrestling in Mexico, and he happened to be down there shooting a movie. And one of the guys that I wrestled with was friends of his, and the movie was called Immortal Kombat. Mm-hmm. The classic Immortal Kombat, not to be confused with Mortal Kombat. Yeah. And he I remember it was the first time I've ever seen a real actor at work. And I remember him just standing in the corner with his eyes closed, just getting ready for this scene, and then emerging and becoming this guy. And he kind of did that in wrestling as well. He really dropped into this character that was based on him. And most characters in wrestling are just your own character turned up to the 10th degree. But just watching him kind of work and watching him kind of get into this zone was really cool. And it was funny too, because his co-star in the movie was a guy called Sonny Chiba, who was a very famous Japanese kind of action film star. So it was Chiba Piper. And he's like, well, do you want to do a fight scene? And I'm like, sure, I'd love to be in the movies, Mr. Piper. So I was in this fight scene with Sonny Chiba, and this guy was great. He was probably, 60 at the time, and he would throw these kicks that came right across my jaw. I barely felt them.
Right.
You know, you do 2 or 3 takes, and they got to reset the cameras. And by take 9 and 10, this guy's fucking kicking me in the face, just boom. He's like, I'm sorry, kid, I'm getting old. And I'm like, geez, Louise, what did you do this, Roddy? He's like, I knew he was going to do that. He does it all the time. I wanted to see if he did it with you too. So that was Roddy's big rib and booking me in a fight scene with Sonny Chiba to get kicked in the face multiple times.
Did you have any stuff watching the Mr. McMahon doc? It got pretty outlandish at some point. You did watch it in 2024, and you're looking at it and you're going, oh man, I can't believe what they got away with, or what they tried to get away with, or whatever. Some of the storylines got pretty crazy. Some might say offensive. I don't really care. But was there any storylines where you were like, I'm not comfortable with this?
No, those storylines were kind of more for the prelim guys, so to speak. And you know, when you watch that documentary, it's like watching The Dirt, Motley Crue. Mm-hmm. It's how in the hell did that even happen? Mm. But you know, that was the time then. So I remember the one time, it was actually my first day working in WWE. I debuted on a Monday in Chicago. And this was a Sunday in Detroit. They used to have a show called Sunday Night Heat. So I was just there kind of to watch and get acclimated to the company and all that stuff. And there was this guy, his character was called Meat. and basically he was a boy toy. And he kind of his tights looked like Calvin Klein underwear. So he was aligned with the Pretty Mean Sisters, who, of course, PMS, good one, right?
Yeah.
This is 1999. So he made them mad, and they put like a Cialis, a Viagra in his drink. And this is all on the show. Right. He drinks the drink, and suddenly he's got a giant hard on. So they literally stuck like a dildo in the front of his tights. And so he had to wrestle this match with a hard on. And the big boss man had his nightstick. And the finish was the big boss man hit him in the dick and he sold it. And he pinned him 1, 2, 3. And I remember sitting there going, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? What is this?
Yeah, what was that? It was it just like, because that era, I remember that era. It was it just the writers going buck wild? Like, I don't understand how it gets to that point of boner alert, It's weird.
It was just kind of like, it was just the time. It was called the Attitude Era. So it was to see how outrageous you could get. I remember there was a guy called Mark Henry, and his storyline was that he was sleeping with Mae Young, who was probably 80 at the time. He got her, and I'm going to say this to you, and you guys aren't going to laugh because it's going to sound like I'm making a bad joke, but this is actually what happened. Mark Henry gets Mae Young, the octogenarian, pregnant, and then she gives birth to a hand.
Wow.
You're like, what? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what the idea was or anything like that. But there was a lot of that sort of stuff happening where you're just like, what? I don't know. You
balked at my porn analogy moments ago, but as it turns out, I may have been correct.
You were closer than you thought.
That's right. So, speaking of The Rock, even though I just brought him up, but I know you wrestled with him, that guy obviously transitioned. He was kind of Schwarzenegger 2.0, and not that he's the same dude, just in that Schwarzenegger was like, well, I'd like to be an action star, and they all went, go back to Bavaria with your crazy accent, and the next thing you know, he's the biggest guy in the thing. And then Rock, and he comes in, and people are like, oh, come on, give me a break. And now he's, it's doing nothing but mega films. John Cena as well. I remember his first film, he came into my radio show, and we talked for his first movie was called The Marine, I think.
Right. Yeah.
And I went and saw it, ironically, with Bill Simmons, who's the guy his company's behind the Mr. McMahon doc series. So me and Bill used to go see just bad matinees because we could. And and we sat in the theater in the ArcLight in Hollywood opening day, and we were the only two human beings in that John Cena. Yeah. It was his first leading role. But look at him now. So now I ask you, Chris Jericho, obviously doing Terrifier 3 and being involved with many films. Do you have an eye toward that trajectory?
Well, I'll say this too. I was looking up last night to see if John ever had the #1 movie in the country, and he hasn't. So there you go. Chris Jericho and The Rock have had
right.
#1 movie. I mean, obviously, like I said earlier, acting is kind of what we do in wrestling. And yeah, I've done quite a few things over the years, but the last year and a half, 2 years have been a lot more, which is great because when you get, and you'll know this, Adam, when you get the evasive offer to be in a movie, that's like what you're looking for. You don't have to audition. You don't have to worry. Here's an offer to get this part. And I've had quite a few offers, like Terrifier was an offer, which when you get that, it's a really cool place to be in. So yeah, of course, I'd love to continue to work my way up the ladder, and because it's fun. I mean, this is what we do, and I've been doing it for 34 years. How long have you been acting, Chris? Since I was 19 when I started getting into wrestling. It's just playing a character, like I said. So most characters I play don't get their jaw ripped off by a headless demonic clown and a chick with no face because it got eaten off by said headless demonic clown.
Spoiler alert.
Well, it's been a week already.
Damn it.
It's fine. It's fine.
How's that? Yeah. Keep going.
No, I was going to say, so yeah, the overall intention is to do more for sure. But I've been enjoying it and learning along the way.
How is keeping yourself at this later stage in life for a wrestler? How is it keeping yourself in shape and diet and exercise and all that kind of stuff?
I mean, it really is focused on diet now more than anything. Like, I don't lift weights per se anymore because my joints were getting too messed up. And as you get older, how much you bench really doesn't matter anymore. So a lot of dieting constantly. That's kind of the number one. And then I kind of shifted all my training over to kickboxing. I really enjoy that for a cardio workout. It's good. It's good for the form and for the definition as well. But yeah, that's kind of the most that I do, because like I mentioned, lifting weights, I think it becomes more counterproductive over the years when you're really straining with those joints and those ligaments. And I've also been very fortunate. I've never had really injuries. I really haven't been injured at all to where I had to miss any length of time. So I'm cognizant of that as well. So I don't want to mess with that dynamic too. So you got to, it's wrestling, so we can kind of pick and choose our spots, but you still never know. It's still a contact sport. It's still got the live stunt show element to it. So you can be as careful as you want, but you still have to be, durable and cognizant of where your body is, and just stay in the best shape you can. Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff, especially that's chronicled in the documentary, seems pretty insane to do. Off the turnbuckle onto the folding table, sure, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's really pretty hairy stuff. And, it's not worked out like you would do, like a gag on a set would be worked out with a coordinator and guys with pads everywhere and harnesses and stuff like that. It is just kind of free form. Yeah, it's freestyle. And, it's stuff I wouldn't do. I mean, I probably would have done it when I was 19, but so how do you get, and I want to ask about Fozzy. Are you playing? Are you doing gigs? We're actually on tour right now. This is a day off, but we're in New York City tomorrow and Philly on Friday. So we're still rolling. We're doing actually really well. We just had our 8th top 10 single on rock radio, and the band continues to grow. So it's been really cool in that aspect as well. Tell us about the cruise, bro. I heard about this cruise. Is that still ongoing? Yeah. All right. Cruise is this year, January 31st, out of Miami to the Dominican Republic. Sick. It's six on the beach. The Chris Jericho's Rockin' Wrestling Rager at Sea, our 6th voyage. Got the idea when Fozzy played on the Kiss cruise in 2015. I thought, what if we could do bands and wrestling at sea? So I had to figure out a way to secure the ring on the deck in case there's big waves. Yeah. Right. So I had to have like a team, a small team, but a team. I'll be at a team to come on of engineers and figure out how we can secure this ring. So they came up with these water ballasts, these like squares, these big giant plastic squares. And there's 4 of them, and you fill them with water and you build the ring over top of the squares. And that way, no matter what happens, those squares are so heavy, they're not going to move if the ship is rocking. So once we figured out that massive technology, we got it rolling once I cut a deal with the company, and it's been a huge success. Obviously, we had a couple issues during lockdown and during the pandemic, but then we built it back up again, and it's become just a big rock and roll party with wrestling and rock and roll and comedians and the whole 9 yards at sea. It's a blast. Yeah, the cruises, we've done a few of them, are always great. Yeah, because it's made. There's fans who go and watch you on TV, and they're fans, but they're not super fans because they didn't get off their ass and come into the arena to watch you. They'll just watch it on YouTube or something. And then there's fans that go to the arena, and those are bigger fans. And then there's like fans who go to the arena and pay extra to sit ringside or stage side. And then there's fans that pay even more to get the VIP backstage or whatever. But when you get to the fans who bought a ticket for a cruise, now you're getting really granular. You're getting into nobody but mega super fans on that boat, and then you're surrounded by them. And I don't know. I think a lot of people think it's a hassle. I've done a few of these things. I don't, it's like people are like, yeah, but what about getting bothered? Having guys buy you drinks and tell you how funny you are? Jesus Christ, where have you been my whole life? That never gets old.
That's the thing when we did the Kiss cruise. I felt the same thing. I didn't know what to expect. The first day, people are excited, and you have your designated signing times and that sort of thing. Second day, they're happy. Third day, you're just another guy in the ship at the casino, having a drink and playing blackjack, like you said, Adam. So I've had a lot of people that come to the cruise, a lot of professionals, wrestlers, bands together that are like, we didn't know what to expect. We thought we were going to get bombarded and hassled, and it's not like that at all. People are really cool because, like you said, these are the hardcore Jericho, Fozzy, Jericho cruise fans. It's like summer camp. They come every year to be a part of the community. And 75% of our guests are return guests because people enjoy it so much. So they know the story. And so, no one's really getting mobbed at these things. It's just a cool not laid back. It's just a cool frickin' party from the first hour to the last hour. And everybody falls into that vibe. It really is a blast all across the board.
There is one danger in it, in that when you go on the cruise, they go, look, you can either buy drinks individually or we'll get you a day pass. And then everyone goes, well, what do you get with the day pass? Well, you got to pay, $400 up front. But you get up to 27 drinks a day. And then everyone goes, all right, I'll pay the money, but I'm getting my fucking money's worth, And then at some point you go, the band's supposed to go on at 1. Where's the bass player? Oh, he's fucked up. He's fucking in the casino and his pants are down. And he's fucking yelling at somebody. And it's like, well, get that guy a fucking pot of coffee and give him the fuck over to the stage. Because people are having a good time. And
you got to pace yourself on those, man, for sure. You got to pace yourself because it's 4 days straight.
Yeah, I know, and if you got to wrestle, exactly. It's kind of one thing to go. I got to get up there and fucking crack wise and make fun of people. You can do that with a drink. You know what I mean? It helps. Yeah. But wrestling, I don't imagine it would help.
Well, especially for me too, because it's the Chris Jericho cruise, so it's on me. Right. I think last year I did 21 appearances, shows. I had a match. We played 4 shows with my bands. I'm, marrying this person, playing Family Feud with this gang, watching this, doing that. So I really have to pace myself. But I learned that the first year because you're so excited. It's the Jericho cruise, and you get on board, and it's not a section of the ship; it's the whole freaking ship. And there's, Jericho as an octopus pictures on the elevators, and there's banners, and it's Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. And it was 3 years of hard work. So the very first night, I was fucking drinking. I was super excited. I went on stage and sang with the Aussie cover band on this small little stage. Guitar player took a swing with his guitar, hit me right in the face. I got to go to the infirmary and get 8 stitches in my fucking head. I'm drunk, and I got to get up at 8:00 in the morning to take 1,000 pictures with the people that bought early. I learned very quickly that you need to pace yourself, Chris, because that first day wasn't good. Black eye and all.
Yeah, I married someone on my cruise too.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It is a thing, apparently.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. They just go.
They want to be married. Absolutely.
Yeah, you just get ordained online, and then you marry them.
But international waters, does it count?
International waters, that's the secret. It's the international waters. Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, I've run into a couple or two that I've married 4 years later at a show or something.
Still together.
Still
Carolla
married.
Stamp.
Yeah. And I don't even recognize him. It's the sad part.
You're a part of the biggest day of their life and you don't even know.
Well, back to the free drink ticket.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you got your thumbs in a lot of pies. And is the variety... See, I think the variety's the part I like. And people always say, well, what do you like the most? You like doing a podcast or a stand-up show or writing a book or doing a movie or something? And I go, I like whatever I'm doing next that's different than what I did last time. So if you just said all you're doing is this, then I would learn to not like it, you know? But this is a weird time we're living in where everyone's got like 11 jobs.
Yeah.
And I mean, whatever, acting, a band, cruise, wrestling, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you and I have discussed this before. I remember you actually had a great quote early on, one of the first times I did your show, when we were talking about Fozzy and about how, once you make it, my two dreams when I was a kid was to be a wrestler and was to be in a band. And I made it in wrestling. And then Fozzy was going on and I knew we could do it. We just had to put a lot of focus in it. And when something else comes up and you were like, listen, this guy already made it in wrestling, he made it in the band. Like, don't put your chips against this guy. And you're kind of right about that, because once you succeed in doing a couple different things, then the idea of a cruise, podcast, acting, whatever the hell it is, it's like, yeah, why not? Let's go for it, because it is important in this day and age to be versatile and to have diversity in your career, because people get bored easily. They really do. And that's even in wrestling. I change my character constantly. People are like, Jericho's got 50 different nicknames. Yeah, you're fucking right that I do. Because if I was still doing Y2J from 1999, that would be super boring at this point in time. And it's the same, I feel, career-wise. I feel that I have way more longevity in the wrestling business because of Fozzy, because of Terrifier 3, because of Talk is Jericho or the Jericho Cruise or this litany of other things that I do. Why not? Why say no to anything if you feel you can make it work? And then there's always going to be people that are angry about that and cut you down because of that. But that's okay. Those aren't the people that I appeal to. I appeal to the people that enjoy the stuff that I do, and I work on gaining new fans that feel that way. So once you focus on that side of the thing, the positive side, the negative doesn't matter as much, and it's easier to succeed.
Well, once you get used to doing things, then everything comes a lot easier. And what people don't really realize about successful people is successful people just go, well, I'm going to do this. And then everyone, right. I come from a family who would have looked at that person and just went, how can you do that? It's never going to work. And what if all these bad things happen? But successful people, it gets a little addictive, but it also gets really easy, where at the beginning it's very hard to do stuff. And then stuff like a cruise, or, I'm doing a comedy school, like the School of Rock, but for comedy. Yeah. And when I'm done here today, I'm going to go to Leno's shop and we're going to go shoot a promo. And this will be his third year doing it. And it'll be my third year doing it. And if you would have said to me when I was young, you're going to do a comedy camp, I would have gone, you can't do that. How does that work?
Right.
And then you start realizing that comedy camp or book or cruise or what have you, they're all basically the same, even though they sound different. It's just, I have an idea. Let's make this happen. And it just gets easier the more stuff you do. So if you wanted to come out with your own hot sauce right now, you just go, all right. And then 4 months from now, you'd have Jericho's hot sauce. That would just be how it would be. Whereas years ago, you'd be like, who do I know? How do I do it? Just pulling out
Jericho champagne.
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
Nice plug.
Adam, you're right. And the people that I work with, the team, so to speak, they know what my mindset is. Don't tell me why something's not going to work. Tell me how we can make it work. Tell me how we can make it happen. Because there's always a way. There is always a way. Hey, sorry, Chris, it's not going to work out because of this. Well, hold on a second. Maybe if we do that and change this and move this and do that, suddenly, oh yeah, let's do it. Let's make it happen. There's a real kind of attitude with a lot of people. And it's people, not that they're not successful, but they put limits on themselves of like, man, I wish I could do it, but I just can't. I don't think that way. I think I wish I could do it. So how can we make it work? There's always a way. There's always a way to make it work. And there's always other options to do things. So I think that's a really great way to think and to be, is just look at how you can do it. And find that road and find that path and just follow that. And most of the time you can make cool things happen.
Well, I'd like to announce Mayhem Honey Barbecue Sauce coming in 4 months.
There you go.
You guys inspired me
calendar.
right now. I'm going to make some honey barbecue sauce in 4 months, though.
Manuka honey.
Manuka honey.
Done.
Correct.
That's great. I'll be enjoying some of my ribs in 4 months.
Hell yeah, thanks.
Do you have any, I don't know why this reminded me of this, and Dawson, you guys can look for this, but I was looking through my feed the other day, and I saw Kevin Bacon and the Bacon Brothers, and they were celebrating Kool and the Gang getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which angers me because there should be no such entrance for Kool and the Gang. And then they played an acoustic version of a song that I hate from Kool and the Gang, and all of a sudden my evening was ruined.
What?
Like I started to get angry.
What song?
Get Down on It, which angers me because it gets played all the time, and the lyrics are "Get down on it, get down on it, get down on it, get down on it, get down on it." I'm like, oh, let me guess the name of the song. All they do is say "Get down on it" over and over and over again, and they're in the Rock and Roll goddamn Hall of Fame, and Kevin Bacon and the Bacon Brothers are tipping their cap to these guys. This is very sad. Did you guys find that?
Oh my God, I found it.
And are they in the Rock and Roll? Did they just announce they were getting... I mean, the Bacon Brothers, I don't know. Look, this could be 2 years old. I don't know. But here are the Bacon Brothers.
About time. Didn't know there were brothers. The Bell Brothers, Ronald thinks we do brother covers here. Congratulations to Kool and the Gang. It's time for us with our friend Paul to get down on it. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is a day old, so they must have just got in.
Please. Is that guy playing the chair, Kilroy?
I think that's Harpo.
He's here.
How you gonna do when you really don't want to dance? By standing on the floor, get your back up off the wall. How you gonna do when you really don't want to dance? By standing on the floor.
I find this version more palatable than... Oh, here we go. Get down on it. Everybody, get down on it. Get down on it. Get down on it. I don't know why. The part that angers me the most is at the end when he changes up, when he goes, "Get down on it." It's like, oh, you're still just saying the same thing. All right. I'm now calling the Bacon Brothers sellouts. I don't want Kool and the Gang in the Rock and Roll goddamn Hall of Fame. Jericho, thoughts?
First of all, I feel bad for the other Bacon brother.
Yeah.
Kevin, good-looking guy, great actor, plays guitar. Other guy kind of looks like a duck, kind of. Not the most attractive of fellas, the other Bacon brother. Don't even know his name.
Chicken Ranch.
Don't even know. He's just
Dave
Kevin.
Bacon?
He's
Johnny Bacon?
Kevin's brother. That's what he's been
Art
going
Bacon,
by.
I'm not sure.
For 37 years, he's been known as Kevin's brother.
Yeah, man. I mean, once again, listen, God bless Kool and the Gang, but when Iron Maiden and Scorpions and Motorhead still aren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Ted Nugent and Thin Lizzy and all these other bands, and Kool and the Gang is in there.
What is the standard? I don't even understand.
There's no standard.
Well,
it's corporate business.
What it is what ruins everything eventually, which is DEI, which is, look, at some point they looked around and went, all there is a bunch of white dudes in this place, so we got to diversify a little. And then what they went, well, let Joan Jett come in. She eats pussy. Let her come in, even though she sucks. And then they started putting in, Whitney Houston, where they were trying to add some flavor to it.
I had somebody comment when I made the remark of like, how can, I don't know, Kool and the Gang be in, and Iron Maiden, Thin Lizzy, and Scorpions are not. They're like, oh, it's typical. Jericho just wants the white artist. I'm like, hey, you ever heard of Phil Lynott, the singer of Thin Lizzy? He's fucking black.
Yeah. No, Thin Lizzy's great. And I
think the perfect DEI induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame would be just a band called Foreigner.
Yeah, there you go.
Throw them in there. That's what we need to do now.
Yeah.
They made it.
I thought you were going to say Hootie and the Blowfish.
Well, they don't like Ted Nugent because they don't like his politics, which again, it kind of ruins it, because now what is it? Is it merit-based?
No.
Is Joan Jett rock? Do Kool and the Gang say rock and roll more than Ted Nugent? And the answer is no, but they don't like that he's a bow hunter and he's a Republican, so they just go, you're not getting in. And
that shouldn't even matter. Politics should be not even matter. We're talking about artistry here and talking about influence. I mean, Ted Nugent as an artist is one of the most influential guitar players for a lot of musicians, and just, a great singer and a great songwriter. So that's where I hate politics and rock and roll. Leave that out. And I'm not saying Ted says what he says. I'm talking about the music and the influence and the longevity. Ted Nugent since 1975. That's enough. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Put him in.
The Bacon's brother's named Michael.
Okay.
Mike Bacon.
Mike Bacon.
All right, let me give you a plug, Jericho. Terrifier 3 is the name. It is out. It is number 1, so you may find it. Cruise, Fozzy dates, where people go to chrisjericho.com.
Yeah, just say Google me.
Google Jericho.
Give him a Google.
Yeah.
Good to talk to you, my friend. Come
Always
by.
a pleasure, Adam. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And if you go see Terrifier 3, bring a barf bag because it's pretty depraved and disgusting in the best possible way.
We'll talk soon, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll take a break. Mayhem's got some news, and we'll do that right after this. Hymns hair. Men, when you leave the house, you check your phone, you check for your wallet, you check for your keys. How's the hair look? If you're experiencing hair loss, you may not feel too confident. Get your confidence back. Hims provides a range of doctor-trusted hair loss treatments, chewable, oral, spray, and serum, all from the comfort of your own couch. Simple, 100% online process. Just answer a few questions. A medical provider will determine the treatment that's right for you. If prescribed, the treatment is sent direct to your door. So it just comes right to your door. You can figure it out. But the thing is, you got to get it before it goes. So if it's starting to go, let's get Hims right now. No insurance needed. One low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. It's Hims Hair. Am I right, Dawson?
Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Adam. That's HIMS.com/Adam for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/Adam. Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Let me tell you about Chime. Feels good to save up and make a big purchase. Remember that? Remember back in the day? Or now? Buy something like a car, something like that. With the Chime Secured Credit Card Builder, Visa Credit Card, you can start building credit with everyday purchases and regular on-time payments. All with no annual fees, interest, or credit check at chime.com/Adam. So you use the Chime card, you make your payments, you get your savings, and you get that thing you deserve. Higher credit, man, that is something we all need in modern society. It affects everything. And by the way, when you buy a car with bad credit, you have to pay more, or even decent credit, you pay more than you do if you got high credit. So let's get some good credit. Get paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit and up to $200 fee-free overdraft protection with SpotMe. Access 50,000 fee-free ATMs, more than the top 3 national banks combined. Easily find one near you with your Chime app. Let's start saving with Chime, right, Dawson?
Make your fall finances a little greener by working towards your financial goals with Chime. Get started today at chime.com/Adam. That's chime.com/Adam. Chime feels like progress. The Chime Credit Builder Visa Credit Card is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. or Stride Bank N.A. SpotMe eligibility requirements and overdraft limits apply. Out-of-network ATM withdrawals and OTC advance fees may apply. Terms and conditions apply. Go to chime.com/disclosures for details. It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Adam. Will from Texas here. I know you're definitely not a fan of the tinny 80s music genre as a whole, and I mostly agree with you. So I want to get your take on the song King of Wishful Thinking by Go West. Just listen to it, and on first glance, I gotta say, I think it pops. Love the show, man. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
I don't think I know that song, but Go West has a hit, and this isn't it, is it? Unless it's
good hit.
The one. What was their hit?
King of Wishful Thinking.
Oh, this is it?
Yeah.
But they don't say it in the song, do they?
Yeah. I'm the king of wishful thinking.
Huh. Well, let me hear it, because I recognize songs.
Sexuality at this age.
What year's this, you think? Now, I will tell people this, 1990. Probably the worst year for me. You know, there's a worse year for stuff. You know what I mean? Like the worst year for boxing's heavyweight division. Yeah. 1986, you know, like 1 year before Mike Tyson showed up, and a bunch of no-names were hanging out in the heavyweight division. Larry Holmes had just dominated for 12 years or whatever it is. But they're bad years for architecture. There's like, what is the worst year for American cars? Like 1974. You know, like everything they did was a piece. The Corvette was a piece of shit in 1970. Everything was the Mustang. Everything was a piece of shit in 1974. 1990, the worst. Now, here's the hole in my music. Why you guys all know this and I don't. I listen to K-Rock radio like exclusively, and then like on the job site, I would listen to oldies radio. And so it was all like Dion and the Belmonts or Teenage Enema Nurse. You know, like it was just but it was K-Rock. So K-Rock would have never played this, right? And then the oldie station, which was, I think, KLSX. I don't know, I end up on that station? Anyway, the point is the oldie station would have never played this. The K-Rock would have never played it. And then I would just buy... You know, I was buying CDs, you know, one every 2 weeks, you know, because that's all I could afford. But I would just, because I didn't have any money, I just get the best of Steely Dan, the best of Bachman Turner Overdrive, the best of Deepest Purple. You know, that CDs were $12. I didn't have any money, so I couldn't go buying the new stuff. I had to buy the best of buy the best the Doors or Steely Dan or whatever. It's just all the hits. And so I would have never heard this song because I would never listen to pop radio, channel. And I didn't know anybody who listened to pop radio. All right, but anyway, I'll sign off on it. That sound it's tinny and soulless.
That song was one of the bangers at every high school dance.
Yes, you're right.
Also, I was older by then, so I wasn't making the scene. And I never went to like dance clubs or clubs. I couldn't afford to buy drinks and stuff, you know? Yeah. All right. Mayhem's got his news ready, but I had a harrowing experience on the way in today. Harrowing. Fast lane. Now, to be fair, there was a diamond lane that I wasn't in. So I was in the one next to the diamond lane.
Yeah.
Which I guess de facto is the fast lane on the freeway, if there is a diamond lane. And I was chugging along, I don't know, 68, 70, whatever, down the 101, or probably the 134 at this point. And all of a sudden, the car, which is newish, started bucking a little. Like felt a little chunk in the drivetrain, and then a light came on the dash that said malfunction with the hybrid system, service immediately.
Oh,
but I was on the middle of the freeway, probably about 4 miles from here, and moving along. So I started giving it gas, but giving it gas wasn't really overcoming what was going on. I was kind of trying to feather the pedal, just kind of I don't know, it's an old school thing when you're used to driving old cars to get them to catch, you know what I mean? You sort of do that feather foot pump thing, and the car's just it was losing power. I don't know this car that well, and I'm not really sure what the limitations are, but I put it into neutral.
Yeah.
And now I'm coasting. But I'm decreasing speed because I got no power. But I started off at 70, so I'm still moving along, and there's cars coming up on me now. So I go from neutral back into drive to see if it reboots something or something, and it doesn't. It's still going hybrid problem, and I'm still feathering the pedal, and it's kind of herky-jerky, but it's not catching. I'm not gonna be moving pretty soon, is the way I figure it. So I put my signal on to the right, and I start sort of pushing my way over. Now cars are coming up a little bit faster because I'm getting a little slower.
Yeah.
But I get the signal on, and I'm moving on into the right lane. Now I'm in the slow lane. I'm still coasting, but I'm decreasing. So I put it in neutral so I can get a clean coast instead of working on the drive line. Now, there is, I talk about being a carpenter and being a comedian and having some skill, but my real skill is coasting cars safely to a stop, like a pilot when the power engines go down, finding a place to land that thing. Right. I've done it in so many old race cars. I just did it 2 months ago doing Laguna Seca. I was in an old car, and the car lost power, like in the middle of the racetrack, and now you're just coasting, and you're coasting, it's a combination between shutting stuff down in the car so it doesn't catch on fire, sometimes thinking, how can I reboot the car? Can I restart the car? And letting people around you know what is going on. Because in a race, there's 42 cars, and they're coming up fast, and they want to know what you're doing, So I get the thing into neutral, I get all the way over to the right lane, and now I shut the blinker off, and I turn on the hazards. Right. So now hazards on, hazards on, neutral, coasting, going about 45 and thinking, am I going to make this forced lawn off-ramp, which is ahead about a mile, and I do not want to get stuck on this freeway.
No.
I don't want any part of it. And the easiest way to get killed is just getting out of your car on the freeway. And some guy got killed just yesterday, the day before, just walking across the freeway. We have that Coastal Commercial clip, by the way, and if we do, can you please put it on the screen, please?
So I'm at the Forest Lawn exit.
No, not our screen. I mean, I have a little screen here, and I always beg you guys to put stuff on it if you have it, and sometimes you do. I don't need it on the screen. I need it on my. I need to know you have it.
We just figured you knew since we told you we had it already before we started the show.
Okay. Let me just say,
a reminder.
You don't have to figure. It's not like I get charged per letter or anything. What I know, but see, here's the thing. I don't want to be a dick, but I told you go look for this thing,
Roger.
And then I don't see anything on the screen, so I assume either you're looking for it or there's. I don't want to just call for something and not have it pop up.
Absolutely.
Is what I'm saying. So you just put it on our little screen, and then we'll never have to think about this ever again. How about
they
that?
got it.
All right. Well, you say they got it. This has been discussed 37 times. All right, but it's been a while. All right. Anyway, so I'm now coasting.
Yeah.
And I'm attempting to make it to the Forest Lawn Drive, which ironically is where the cemetery
I know.
is.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, an eerie harbinger. And I got my hazards on, and now I roll the window down on the driver's side, and the hazards are blinking, and I'm going 43 miles an hour, and I'm waving. I'm waving people by. Got the hand out, and I'm moving it, and I'm going, go around.
Yeah.
And people are going around. Of course, at some point, a semi-truck who didn't have to go around. This person was 2 lanes over. They're just doing 65 and just going past me. They didn't have to move or do a maneuver or anything. All I was doing was looking in the rear and trying to wave everyone past. This guy's 2 lanes over. He's coming up as he goes by on the air horn. I'm like, how necessary is it to add to my stress level at this point? Hazards are on. white dude's doing 42 in a new car, and his hand is out the window telling everyone to go around. Is that not enough information for you to glean that maybe this guy's having an issue with his automobile? Like, maybe there's an issue.
Yeah.
It happens. Sometimes you see cars pulled over and stuff. Maybe I fucking had a heart attack. Maybe my fucking wife's water broke or something. Like something. Or maybe the car's hybrid system is malfunctioned. Whatever it is, do you have to lean? And by the way, with the window open and the air horn and me already at DEFCON 4, like, why are we adding to this? Long-haul trucker who travels the highways and byways of America. Have you never encountered a car that had been pulled over because of some issue involving the car? Is that possible? Is this all new territory? Maybe this is your first day driving this semi-truck. I don't know.
I don't know. The big rigs.
That's right. Go to the School of Trucking. I'm Debbie Dutzen. I'm from the Dutzen School of Trucking. I'm Wally Thorpe. I'm from the Wally Thorpe School of Trucking. Okay. I don't know why this guy felt. Why does anyone feel this is part of their job? What? I evidently, I'm already having an arguably bad day because my car has no power and I turn the hazards on to alert you to the fact that I'm having an issue. That's why there's a button on your dash to do it. But then secondly, the hand is out and I'm waving people by.
But my theory is it's not about you. It was about the guys that you were sending into his lane. He got scared, butthole got puckered, horn comes on.
He was 2 lanes over. So he wasn't, there was an open lane between me and him.
Yeah.
2 lanes over.
2 lanes.
2 lanes over.
Because I was going to...
Open lane, and the people around me were just going into the open lane and going past. But that was not happening when he drove by.
Yeah.
So, no, it did not affect him at all.
Well, I'm devil's advocate. You know, that's what I do.
Could it be that he's just evil trucker and he's just trying to fuck with you?
Yeah,
This guy is under duress. I'm going to add to it.
He's probably an evil trucker. At least that's how I identify him now. But I'm just saying, where does the energy come from? You know, why? How can you possibly be invested at 11:14 in the morning in Valley Village that somebody's having a problem with their car? And by the way, the horn is to tell me what? Never to do this again, or to mind my P's and Q's, or maybe I shouldn't have put the hazards on. Maybe that I offended His Highness. I don't know. But this guy goes by, and I'm like, you really fucking have to, this is really. So now, at least I'm thinking about him. So there's a hill and a bridge.
Oh, great.
Before you get to Forest Lawn, because the LA River goes by there, right? And I'm like, if I conk out on the bridge, there's no shoulder.
Ugh.
I'm just in the fucking lane. So I'm going, come on, and I'm waving frantically. And I just get over the bridge hump, and now I hit the ramp, and the ramp's downhill. It's a sweeper, you know what I mean? So with a stop sign on the end, but I couldn't do it because I had no power. So I sweep around, and then it starts heading a little uphill, and I just start coasting and come to a stop right between 2 illegals selling flowers for Forest Lawn. And now I'm in a different predicament, which is people are pulling behind me wanting to buy flowers from illegals, and they think I'm buying flowers from illegals, and I got illegals thinking I'm buying flowers from illegals, but I just coasted to a stop there. So now I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. And now I'm angry at the trucker. I'm angry at the city. Why do they do this? They just let people sell shit on the street. It's a whole fucking black market. Like, they constantly talk about tax. We're going to tax this. We're not going to tax that. We're going to tax the top end. We're not going to tax tips. We're not going to. How about the people who pay 0 taxes all day long and do it right in front of your fucking ass all day long? There's nothing. There's no thought. How about the guy who owns the Toluca Lake flower store up the street who pays a fucking ton and works and comp and taxes and regulation? How about the fact that he can't do the flowers for your deceased Nana? He can't do any better than $31 for that bouquet. And these guys are $14 all fucking day long because no insurance, no building, no rent, no taxes, no overhead. Is there any thought as a city that what these guys are doing illegally should not be done? But anyway,
never thought about that.
I come to a stop and I'm like, oh God, no, I don't want any flowers. I got people coming up on me. I got the hazards on, but they think I pulled over to buy flowers at this point. And don't get me wrong, I could use a little cheering up.
Yeah, at this point.
A bouquet would have been nice at that point. So I sat there, and then you do what you do with all modern cars. Shut it down, sit a second.
Reboot.
Hit the lock, unlock, started it up, and still saw on the dash that the hybrid system needed service and it needed to be serviced immediately, but was able to get it in gear and then just sort of limp it around on the side street until I got here. So that was my
what the hell
experience. Yeah, new car.
To be continued.
Yeah, now it's getting picked up on a flatbed and and I don't, but I will, I make fun of Mike August all the time on this show.
Yeah.
And I got some other rants booted up for that guy. coming soon. And Mike doesn't care. But I will say Mike has a quality which is probably the number one quality in a human being that I like in dudes. And if a dude doesn't have it, I hate it. I hate a pussy.
Yeah.
You must hate pussies.
Oh, definitely.
I hate people going, I'm not going to do that. I don't even know where that's been. I fucking hate pussies. Yeah. I hate germaphobes and pussies. I got here. My car is going to get flatbedded to Van Nuys, Galpin, whatever. I called Mike August. I said, Mike, you're coming here after the show? He goes, yeah. I go, we're going over to Leno's shop in Burbank by the airport? He goes, yeah. I go, guess who's driving me home to Malibu when we're done? He lives in Orange County.
Yeah.
I go, guess who's driving me back to Malibu after we're finished with Leno? And he goes, I don't know. I go, you are. He goes, why? I go, my car's crapped, and I don't have any way to get from Leno's back to my house in Malibu. Now, most people go, there's something called Uber. But not Mike.
He threw a fit.
And by the way, we're leaving Leno's at 4 in the afternoon, maybe 4:30. Leno is Burbank. I'm Malibu. Mike's Yorba Linda. Deep OC. He's going to be driving for 7 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
And he just went, all right. And that's what I like. That's what I like in a human being.
Yeah.
Now, there are other guys that would have done it, but would have tried to score some points to put in the bank. You know what I mean? People treat this where they go, yeah, I can do that. I'll have to miss my daughter's soccer game, but I can do it. I can do it. I mean, I'm gonna be on the road for a long time. But now, what are they doing? They're trying to sock away some points. They get a few points, and then the next time you're with that dude, and you go, "We're going to dinner," yeah, and you go, "I'm kind of in the mood for Thai food," and they go, "I really want pizza." You go, "Yeah." Well, let's do pizza. Because he socked some points away. People collect and trade. They collect and trade.
I need to start doing that.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's not for this event. It's for the next event. When I'm saying, because when you talk, the next time you talk, you go, well, why don't you come by and pick me up, and then we'll go to the airport. And they go, well, why don't you swing by my place? And you go, you know it. See, they bank some points. And the more they fucking hem and haw, the more points they get. So they go, this is my wife's birthday, and we're supposed to go to Outback.
That shows weak character, I think. That's like
it's a puss move. A lot of dudes do the puss move
but that's a female kind of strategy.
Yes. Yeah. You either do it or you fucking don't do it. But you don't tell me about how much it stinks. There's guys who do it. There are guys who do it at work.
I think it's guys who were raised by their mama and didn't have a dad. Shut the fuck up. Like, that's how that strategy emerges. It's because you hear your ma do it, And you go, oh, okay, that's how you get things out
Mike
of people.
Stabs was a football coach.
There you go.
And then also there's the other person. This is the chick move. Once I tell Mike, my car's done. I need a ride to Malibu. He goes, okay. The chick move is, what happened to the car? And then you go, it just crapped out. It doesn't run at all? No. I mean, it's getting towed to Galpin Fort. So nothing? We have to fucking go down this road where we do this autopsy on what happened, which is part of banking points.
I hear
that's the precursor to the bank.
I see.
So they go, okay, you tell me you need a ride to Malibu.
I could use a ride to Malibu. I need a ride to Malibu.
What happened to your car?
Oh, it broke down.
Totally?
I mean, yeah, it's getting flatbedded out of here.
But it doesn't run at all?
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you right now.
Oh, and there's no kind of, I don't know, flatbed Malibu service or something?
No, they don't offer that.
Oh, okay. Because my son is playing in his first T-ball game at 5, so I'm going to have to miss that. Banking. I'm banking points, so I can use them against
I had a father that, like, depending on how viciously he said the word shit was how angry he was about your whining. The top level was, I don't give a shit.
Wow.
Yeah, like it would be like there's a C in the shit. Like, I don't give a shit. And then you knew that it definitely, I don't give a shit was like the regular standard level. But once he got that C in there, I don't give a shit, then you knew to stop this line of whining.
I've never heard my dad swear.
Oh, wow. My dad sweared as a standard.
Except for one time, we're driving down Laurel Canyon in this VW Bug, because he's a super rich guy.
Nice.
And I pulled this, I had the mouthpiece for his trumpet. He liked playing the flugelhorn. And I was holding it out the window to see if it would make a trumpet noise, but it was just a mouthpiece. So it didn't do anything. And I dropped it.
Oh.
And my dad was so fucking poor that a trumpet mouthpiece was like a big ticket item. And I heard him yell, cocksucker, as loud as he could.
Oh, Carolla, he busted him out.
All right, let's do a little news.
Man, I got Kanye news if you want it.
Oh, man.
Doing research for this, I was chubbed up the whole time because Bianca Censori's mom, racy errands run. Kanye wants to bang me is the headline from TMZ. Yeah, Kanye West allegedly told his wife, Bianca Censori, he wanted to sleep with her mom, which is bringing a lot of attention to Alexandra Censori, who, there's Kanye and his wife right there on the screen. Yes, Alexandra Censori, who stepped out on Tuesday in Melbourne, Australia. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how far the tree falls from the apple.
I know.
But this is a pretty good-looking apple here.
She is quite a looker.
Yeah.
I mean, in a strange pornography way. Or maybe she's pro wrestling. This whole story, it was on Daily Mail, TMZ. It was like a very big story where Kanye allegedly wrote to his wife, I want to fuck your mom before she leaves. That was a text message.
The thing that was crazy about them as a couple is he would go out totally covered up, hood up, sunglasses on, gloves. You couldn't see a square inch of skin on him, and she would be totally naked the whole time.
Yes.
And I guess it's a power play, but that's a pretty big contrast.
A yin and yang,
there.
almost. Like a sort of a yin and yang, if you will.
Yin and Yeezy.
Yeah. And I don't know. That seemed to me like kind of a BDSM sort of thing. I don't know. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
But the whole thing was about, if you could bring up his mom, his mom. Sorry, rest in peace there, Donda. Yeah, there you go. There's the ma. I'll just be on record as wood.
Yeah. Good bones.
Yeah, right? Nice structure on her. It looks like an old therapist I had.
How old's the mom? We can figure it out.
60 some odd.
All right.
I mean, not bad. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the whole thing about this story is that his assistant is the one coming out with these claims, like letting it know. And he should have asked Bianca if she wanted to watch him fuck your mom.
You gotta treat assistants right, or not do any shit in front of them.
Yes.
Because eventually they become your ex-assistant, and then they start talking to people.
Yeah.
Everybody who gets into trouble in Hollywood, it's a disgruntled ex-assistant who says shit.
You're absolutely right. And speaking of that, the next story is also a little Hollywood thing.
Bianca's 29 and Mom is around 50.
Around?
I think she had her young.
Oh, geez, Louise. Well, yeah. I mean, look, I don't know if that ever happened or whatever, but Kanye is definitely a freak. And I'm beginning to think that this guy Diddy is not a good guy, because a woman claims that Diddy raped her with the TV remote as payback for accusing him of Tupac's murder. Yeah, Sean Diddy Combs.
Sometimes you do that just to check the battery, like you pop the cap off. I had to do this in a hotel room and roll them around just to try to reboot the thing, and it worked. But some guys have different techniques for that. It's not necessarily a rape. Maybe the thing was on the fritz.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She alleges a sexual assault's a new lawsuit. Why he's
the
now
DVD
busted.
remote is, not as big a violation as a universal remote would be in terms of the remote.
I mean, I don't know how you pair it to the TV, but this is one method. There's
also it makes for a real who's on first situation for the cops, because then the chick's going, I was raped with the remote location rape. Where were you? In the forest? No, remote. Yeah, we're asking where? Not in your home? No, remote rape. Yeah, people get raped remotely quite a bit. That's where all the rape goes on. But you got to give us a location. Who's on first?
Oh, my God.
Which is a horrible bit.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you're lightening it up. This is a dark story in which Diddy, did this with the remote, apparently.
Well, is anything, when it comes to Diddy, P. Diddy, or even Kanye or anything, is anything off the table?
No.
Like we go, that guy said this or did that, where you just go, yeah, it's on the table.
What shocks me about all this, Kanye, Diddy, what's going on is very strange, because all this was happening for years and years and years, because this happened years ago, apparently, and in 2018, and none of this came out ever, because these guys had so much power, even with the internet and so much social media, where something like this could drip out. None of it. It gets squished, squashed, blacked over, because Diddy in this case can just buy off enough people to keep it mum. Mm-hmm. And even to the point where he claimed that he held a knife to this lady's face, she says, and threatened to cut her cheeks and give her a Glasgow smile, which is a pretty wild thing to say to somebody. And also been accused, and then she said that in the $50 million lawsuit, that it's going to be that she was gang raped after the remote situation. This is dark. This is really dark. Like, all of it. The lady is now trying to get money, and Diddy offered her money to say the incident was consensual. So he's really good at, because remember the Cassie incident.
Intercourse is sort of one thing you can argue about how consensual it is, but rape with the TV remote is it's a tougher putt.
I mean, if you have the hotel one where you wrap it with saran wrap, then it's a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little more sanitary.
More consensual.
I don't think P. Diddy's ever getting out of prison.
Nah.
I've said it a million times. Should have fled to some place we didn't have an extradition treaty with.
Venezuela, is it?
I asked Mark Garagos once about this, and I kept telling him, because I was telling him that Weinstein needed to flee, 6 years ago, and he said no. But I think he just said no because he had to say no.
Yeah.
But we don't have one with France anymore. Dawson can look it up. But Roman Polanski is like grandfathered in or something. It's like we had one. We didn't have one with France. France just kept Roman. Listen, France loving Jerry Lewis and keeping Roman Polanski is just to piss us off. They don't like Roman Polanski or Jerry Lewis. All they're doing is fucking with us. They're trolling us.
Yeah. Basically, we have an extradition treaty with France, but any party can say, fuck you.
Oh.
And that's basically what France is doing. Nah, you can't have them. You can just not turn over people.
Oh, wow.
So they do exchange prisoners. It says we have an extradition treaty with France, but it's broken all the
Case
time,
by case basis.
I guess so.
Oh,
And with
wow.
Roman Polanski, they're like, fuck you.
Can I say this? I have no idea. Once in a while, someone will flee to Mexico.
Yeah.
And then we'll go, well, we want him back. And then Mexico, of all places, doesn't have the death penalty.
Yeah.
Even though going outside
Is a death penalty.
is a death penalty.
Yeah.
But they don't have a death penalty. And then they go, we're not giving him back if you're going to give him the death penalty.
Yeah.
Our answer to that should be, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to send one guy over in an unmarked car, and we're going to fucking take this guy out of your shit prison. And if anyone says shit, we will fuck you up badly. That's our answer to you and or Canada and or France. This guy, while he was here, raped an underage girl.
Yeah.
And so we would like to bring him to justice. And they're like, we do not do that. And I'd be like, you know what? Fuck off. We're just going to take him.
Yeah.
And look, the first guy is showing up in an unmarked car, but the second guy is showing up at a B-29. And we're just going to fucking start carpet bombing if you do not do this.
Oh, my God.
And by the way, if World War III ever breaks out, we're not bailing you pussies out. Just fucking take him. We should just fucking. What is the notion of the extradition? Whatever. Just he's a criminal. We're taking it.
I'm with you. Yeah. Straight dictator status.
Well, he'll get a trial.
Yeah.
But we're taking him because we have laws, and one thing that's illegal is rape. So that's it. So we're taking him. I don't know what. Like, we just sit around as the mightiest country.
Director.
We sit as the mightiest country in the world and go, what are you going to do? A drunk guy, Parisian guy, said to fuck off. So I guess he's going to just be eating baguettes and wine tonight. Maybe on top of a 15-year-old Parisian chick. I don't know. Nothing we can do.
Yeah, Diddy is not a good guy, it looks like. And
should have fled.
Yeah, should have got away. Couldn't. Panda diplomacy resumes. A pair of bears arrive at the National Zoo.
Don't like it.
Didn't work out with the bat last time, did it?
We pay him $1 million.
Is that what it is? Oh my God!
I've looked everything up.
Yeah,
it's been between $500 and $1 million a year to lease these fucking lazy bears.
Why?
To lease Fozzy Bear. We spend $500 to $1 million a year, and we don't get to name them.
Yeah, they're already named Bao Li and King Bao. Queen Bao? Queen, I guess. 3-year-old female and male.
Right.
They're the latest in the species. Reparations for American zoos. Yeah,
but
it's back.
But what I'm saying is as soon as they get to the zoo, it's like, your name is Gary, your name is Ruth.
Right.
That's it. We're not going with your Chinese names.
Yeah, I don't get it.
We pay for this shit.
Yeah, I don't understand. And do they bring in that much money? Like, do people go and see $1 million worth of panda?
I mean, I'm sure it translates into ticket sales.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to think about that. Like, I was watching TMZ last night. It's like 50 Cent is going to get $15 million to do a 6-show residency in whatever Vegas, and you're like, do they make their money back on $15 million for 6 shows? And they're like, no, they just bring people in and they gamble or whatever.
Well, but then that means they do.
Yeah, they're not making it off the ticket sales or whatever. Yeah. So the zoo would probably go, well, we don't make it exactly off the ticket sales, but we get more people and they buy more concessions and we get some notoriety and blah, blah, blah.
So overall, it's a net positive for them. I don't know.
I guess. I just figured we're paying China.
Yeah, that's so
strange. And we don't even get to name them. And they don't really do anything.
So they're kind of like winning capitalism.
They're winning. Yes, they're winning.
Oh, damn.
That's why we gotta get Trump in there, because he'd just keep the bears. We should tell.
I'm into that.
No, we should tell China what fucking France tells us with Roman Polanski. Yeah, we got him. Fuck off. Well, we want them back. Well, you can't have them back. They're ours.
I mean, look
we
at
have
them.
You want to come get them? Come get them.
Those bears got charisma, especially this one on the right with the little on its nose. Ah, it's cute. It's adorable.
They look cute, but they don't do anything. They're like Sofia Vergara. They just don't do anything. But it's just the way they look that we like, you know.
Why is that? There's something anatomical about the, I don't know, panda eyes. I don't get it either.
There's something about seeing like a St. Bernard puppy that just lights up a part in your frontal lobe where you just react to it, you know. And this bear, all bears have this.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at footage of a grizzly bear laying by a river on the grass, like his paws down to snatch salmon out of the river. And I was looking at it, and it's like, if I were there, I would walk up to it and start petting it. I would try to sleep with it or take a nap with it or something. It was just big floppy paws, big puss, you know, big head, you know, little eyeballs, big furry, little ears perked up. I was like, it's the cutest thing I've ever seen. That's what bears all have it. And then these ones are like bear on top of bear because they got the little black dots where the eyes, you know, black fur where the eyes are, and then the black thing and the white face. It's like somebody designed something that's like, if you said, what would be the most irresistible thing a woman could see? You know, because like when women see a puppy or a baby or something, they go, oh, look at him. This is it.
You keep saying puppy. I think maybe the lines in our head that love dogs is getting crossed. And you know what I mean? We see a giant puppy. But really, in reality, that's a fucking terrifying monster.
There's a Chinese zoo that spray painted a dog,
exactly right.
a chow, to look like a panda.
Yes.
Which has got to suck for the Chinese zoo because, like, they got pandas.
It was a gimmick, though.
It was a
They
gimmick.
weren't trying to put it off on anybody.
Oh, okay.
But I bet they'd rather have a real panda.
Yeah. I think you can get. Oh, they did a good job. I mean,
This wasn't even the
spray
one
paint.
I saw, but yeah. That's kind of nice in China. You can do whatever the fuck you want to a dog. We're over here. We're like, man, we got rules.
Nah, I one time painted my wiener dog to look like a gator, an alligator.
Oh, really?
Shaved him into. Yeah.
Well, how'd that work? Tell me
Worked
about
pretty good. All the ladies loved it.
Wait, you shaved your wiener?
Yeah, shaved
Make it look like a gator?
Yeah, exactly right.
Wait, for something Halloween?
Just for fun.
Do you have a photograph of this?
I definitely do. I'll send it to you guys. Yeah, that's a gator. Gator hot dog was like, he was a big part of my life. Rest in peace.
You shit. Oh, because he killed himself after being humiliated at the dog park?
He was violently barking in the mirror for like 5 minutes. I didn't know why.
Oh, because he didn't know he was the gator.
He didn't understand. Yeah.
How do you do the conversion?
I had a nice lady from the healthy spot that she like just gave him a nice shave. I told her what I wanted to do. She's like, I can do that.
Shave him to look like a gator.
Yep.
Any prosthetics at all?
No need. Because once the shave was in there and once the hair dye was applied, he looked strikingly like a gator.
You do him green or brown? Green,
and then faded into his brown, his natural brown. He just looked awesome. It was.
What do we do with the face, like the mouth and stuff?
Just a little scaling on the side, you know, little shave into this way, into this cheek, into his head. Nice. It was great. It was awesome.
What state was this in?
This was here in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
This was California.
We don't normally put
Well,
up
I don't
with
know
this.
if you could get away with this. This is like 10 years ago, so I don't know if you can get away with it these days.
Well, we got a psychic, a medium named Jonathan Mark, who's waiting in the wings.
All right.
Out there. I don't know if you want to get a little read going.
Let's get
a
it
little
on.
read going. Does a lot of celebs, helps FBI find stuff like people, and got a pod, and we'll get all that. Celebrity psychic medium. We'll talk to Jonathan Mark right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly offers friendly, helpful service and the parts and knowledge you'll need for all your maintenance and repairs. I've always gone to O'Reilly. I used to live up in the hills in La Crescenta. I'd go to the one up on Foothill. Still there. They've got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in-store or online, so you'll never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of your car, which is nice. You don't have to pull it. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right battery for your vehicle. Need your windshield wipers replaced, brake light fixed, quick service, they'll help you find the right part or point you to the nearest local repair shop for help as well. Whether you're a car aficionado or an auto novice, you'll find the team at O'Reilly knowledgeable, helpful, and best of all, friendly. So, the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are your one-stop shop for all things auto, do-it-yourself, and you can find what you need in the store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Madera Beach, Florida. A 57-year-old man and 61-year-old man were arrested for burglarizing an unoccupied structure when they looted a store in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Helene. The two men looted shirts, cowboy hats, and coffee mugs from a store that sells Trump 2024 merchandise. Definitely not a Jew.
Thank the good people at Alcoa for sponsoring that segment all these years. I'll get to the Coastal Commission stuff tomorrow because I need more time for that. Jonathan Mark is in studio. He's a psychic medium. He's got a podcast, Connect with Jonathan Mark. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find finer podcasts. Good to see you, Jonathan.
Nice to see you, too.
So I'm dubious in this world, but I also then hear stories about the FBI or the NYPD using psychics to help find missing people and stuff like that. And then I sort of go, well, then why would they use them if they didn't work or have some ability? But is that a wives' tale or is that a real thing?
No, it's a real thing. Like when they call me in, it's not necessarily to solve a case. It's either to keep it open or really just to turn a different corner that maybe they weren't like looking at originally when I get brought in. So it's not to solve it.
Is it something like perhaps the Pentagon will talk to guys who write fictional books about the next terrorist attack and write screenplays about it and stuff and go, tell us what could happen possibly because of your ability to imagine these things, and maybe it'll help us and we'll prevent some planes hitting a tower or something,
Yeah.
So is it kind of tantamount to that?
It's more, I don't think so, only because like when I do this stuff, there's always like an like a validation factor of like what I say about like the specifics of something. So if I was like hoping to like prevent something, then what is
the difference between psychic ability?
Yeah.
I don't have psychic ability, but I have another ability, and that ability is the ability to see things sort of down the road, and it's called hypervigilance. And I notice from long distances if cars aren't really right, like down the road.
Wow.
I profile everyone and everything. It's just like, look, everyone does it. Everyone has the ability to do it with a dog. So like when you're walking down the sidewalk and there's some guys walking the dog and the dog's coming toward you, and you see the breed of dog and you see the way it's walking and its tail flapping around, and also you size up the owner.
Yeah.
Like, does the guy have a neck tattoo? No, is he wearing socks pulled up to his knees with slippers? You know, like, is he that dude, or is it the gay couple? You know, and you sort of this is so everyone has this ability. Right. Like, no one goes, I just walk down the sidewalk and I see a dog and I don't know what kind of dog it is, or whether it's going to bite me, or if it's friendly or not, the owner. I don't know. Everyone does that. Right. I just go so deep with it that I can see what's happening from a mile away. Right. But it's still just hypervigilance. Right. Right. And so people give me credit for predicting things. Right. As if it's a psychic thing. Right. Like, I've just profiled the person or the
what's
thing.
Your process? Like, I don't understand this at all. I'll just say that. I don't know. Yeah. So tell me, like, I'm 5. You know what I mean? Like, explain it.
So, like, the difference between, like, a psychic and a medium, I guess?
Yeah, what is this medium? What does this mean? And how do you unpack? Like, you said you might, off the air, you said you worked on the Gabby Petito thing. Like, what was your process and how did you help at all, if you did, or... What happened?
Well, it definitely helped. The mom, like, has been very vocal on, like, news and with the police about it. Gabby's mom, Nicole. My process with it, to break it down to, like, a 5-year-old's perspective, I guess, is when they call me in, Gabby wasn't even pronounced dead, but she was missing. So they call me in and they're like, hey, and by them calling me in, it's one of the detectives, and there's many detectives that were on this case because it happened in a bunch of different states. It didn't just happen in Utah and then Wyoming and Florida and then in New York. It happened pretty much in a bunch of areas.
Well, just to set the table, Pretty Blonde from 4 years ago or whenever it was, sort of glamping with their boyfriend, and then went missing for numbers of days, and their boyfriend ended up like going to the swamp and killing himself or something.
Yeah. So like basically they called me in because they didn't know where she was and they didn't know if she was alive or dead. So when they call me in, I'm like, well, if I'm like connecting with her from a family member of hers, because that's how I have to do it. I can't just like look at a piece of paper on a case and just start spewing stuff, because at that point, that's like kind of bullshit.
Wait, like, so is it like psychic energy around these people? I'm trying to understand your world.
So like a psychic is essentially someone who sees the future, right? Like that's someone which is not what I do. Yeah. I'm a medium which connects to the past. It's like the medium person between the other side and here, and I'm just kind of communicating what I'm seeing. And the best way is like screenshots in your head. It's like if you see a bunch of screenshots and it's playing out a whole scene, that's what I convey to whoever I'm speaking to.
And I think now I am psychic, because I live in California, and they're like, we want to defund the police. I'm like, let me look into my crystal ball here, bitches, and see how this is going to work out. Oh, I'm getting a message. It's a clear sign. Yeah. Shit show. We want to decriminalize the homelessness. Right. Why should camping be? Oh, let me consult my crystal ball, nut jobs. Oh, bad. I'm feeling bad energy. So I can see these things down the road. So maybe I am psychic.
I think so. And, to go back to your point, too, about this stuff is I was a cop before this. So I worked for the NYPD. So it's like before I left and stuff, I was spoken to by one of the chiefs there and detectives there, and they were basically telling me to, they were being nice. So I go home and harness this, and if we feel like we can use you, we'll use you. If not, we won't. Like, that's just plain and simple.
I'm getting another vision.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to get rid of Remain in Mexico. No, feels like we're going to have problems at the border. Now, these things come to me. Yeah.
I wish I could see that. But
I see bad policy way before anyone else does. Yeah. So Gabby, who was kind of funny, I mean, not funny, but she was missing, and Dawson, what year? Well, what year that was.
I think it was 2019 or 2020.
Yeah, isn't that long ago?
Yeah.
I feel like, was it COVID, and that's why they were hopscotching around?
Yes. It was like the beginning of it, yeah.
So first, it was like 3 days of lead every news segment, Where is Gabby Petito, right?
Yeah.
That was it was 3 days of that, and then that gave way to everyone on MSNBC going, well, if it was a black woman that was missing, nobody would look because she's a blonde woman. But if she was black, and I always said, we'll look for black women. We don't look for fat women. They were doing a thing where she's blonde. That's why we're looking at it. No, she's fat. Yeah, you can be blonde and fat. We won't. We're never putting that one in.
Oh my God.
No. The answer that we cannot find your fat blonde wife. You tried the Popeyes? That's all. We don't look.
Oh my gosh.
So, but it was we turned into a race thing. It was really a hot thing.
You're right.
I do remember that. I do remember people were coming out and saying if they were a person of color or whatever, it wouldn't have the same coverage or like awareness.
Look, we like good-looking people.
Yeah.
But if it was a black chick who looked like Whitney Houston, it would get coverage.
Yeah. Right.
So, what happened with that case in you then?
So basically, I helped locate her body because it was missing. That was the first thing. Then the second thing was trying to help find Brian Laundrie, and it was,
the boyfriend.
Yeah, the boyfriend. And, it was a moving target because the parents were helping. So it was such a moving target at that point.
His parents were helping him get away or something?
Oh, yeah. There's phone records and stuff that recently just came out after the civil suit that he was communicating with them the moment, like literally 10 minutes after he did this horrible act and was, going back to Florida. Like,
I don't, I get the robbery gone wrong and somebody dies. I don't get the part where you're at, Zion National Park in your VW van with a hot blonde and you go, I got to get rid of her. Like, all you're doing is traveling, looking at the Grand Canyon.
But they're making content and she's like,
there was also a domestic dispute between them in Utah, like a day before.
You've never been in like a very abusive, mutually abusive
I'm
relationship.
I'm always abused, certainly financially. I got punched once by my girlfriend, but that was it. I used to box. I didn't mind I didn't care about getting punched. I'm like Mayhem, But I've been monetarily abused. I just went through it. Jesus. So everyone monetarily abuses me, but not physically. I'd rather be punched than get my fucking wallet raped.
Both. Yeah.
But they had a domestic issue before that, like a physical altercation or something?
Yeah, so like typically what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to separate them for 24 hours and do wellness checks every like 2 to 4.
So the cops were involved with the domestic issue.
Yeah, the cops got called, they separated them, and then they kind of like let them go, in Utah, and let them go back together, and then the next day he killed her in Wyoming.
Because it was like they had like a big thing, and she went, no, it's fine, fine, and then
they let it, and they're typically not supposed to. They're typically... Oh, sorry.
So no, circle back to you because I'm fascinated with this. I got to be honest because I'm like dubious like him. Yeah. But at the same time, obviously there's something to it. Tell me the steps from we don't know where her body is. Yeah. You come in, XYZ. Well, I don't know the XYZ.
So the XYZ is they connect me to someone in her family, like like an immediate person in her family to do a reading, which is sitting down with the person and trying to connect to Gabby and then find the missing pieces.
Slow down. Why to somebody in her family? Because there's some type of connection, soul connection. Like I'm trying to like draw this. To me, I'm a scientist in a way, and I'm like thinking, okay, well, how the hell? What are you feeling when you're sitting with her mama? Man, her mama wasn't there when she got killed.
It's because like they can validate very intimate and personal things versus a detective or versus like you or myself who just can go down a rabbit hole on Reddit and just look at Gabby and stuff. Yeah. Like you want the person who knows the insides and outs, who was speaking to her pretty much every single day and that knows everything and that was called even during the domestic, after the domestic dispute and everything.
Oh, so they know.
So it's validating stuff when it's not just on paper for like a police report. There's like outside things that she knew about Brian because they went to high school together, like the mom, and like other fights that happened prior to that the police were not privy to.
Do you ever get like a snarky veteran NYPD guy and you go, I feel somewhere around a body of water. And they go, no shit, 70% of the fucking planet, dude. What else we got? Yeah, you saw Sopranos episode. Awesome. A fucking cat could figure that shit out. Narrow it down.
Pretty much every one of like the law enforcement is exactly like that.
I love it.
They're like, all right, cool. Like we need more specific detail than a beach, right?
Okay,
like,
all right, well, back to that. You're talking to the ma. She's giving you some stuff, detail, like, you know what I mean? Give me some, like, detail.
So they wanted to know, like, the actual cause of death before it happened because they couldn't find the body. So I had to explain what I saw of the cause of death, the strangulation and things like that.
Yeah, but I guessed that.
Well, yeah.
I was like, I could just imagine this guy flipping out.
You strangle people for a living.
I know, but
everything is strangled.
I could just see him losing his...
If your pizza's 5 minutes late, you start choking the guy.
Well, there's like procedures that they do. It's like cause of death and then things like that. So they have a procedure with me when I do these readings, and that's one of it. So I basically had to explain to them through the path of like what I was seeing of where it happened, because he took her and moved her off a walking path, and I had to explain like what she was conveying to me as like a scene of what had happened. Do I think I'm the one who's like, that's exactly where it is? Probably not. They have an amazing team of like FBI and law enforcement, but they asked my help, and like that's what I kind of gave them. I don't sit here and claim that I'm like the person who did everything for it, because I'm not.
So you're being communicated with from beyond. And so that means there is some beyond.
Yes.
And that world, I guess what we do as humans is we try to graft our stuff onto everything.
Basically,
like we do it with pets, you know.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's so funny. He thinks he's a cat.
Yeah.
He doesn't think he's a fucking cat. He thinks he's a douchebag, you know. I think he's a cat. You think he thinks he's a cat. We do it with everything, you know. And so we're going, well, so what are you doing? Living in some luxury condo in heaven and eating nachos and never getting fat, you know? And it's like, but it's not that. It's something. It's some energy or something. That's
probably the best way. Like I think it's energy, basically, because that's what I'm communicating with. I don't know what heaven or hell or whatever it is. I've never died to my knowledge, so it's like hard to, like, when people ask me, I'm always honest. I'm like, I don't really know the answer to that.
Do you? And Dawson, you can find Tobias from the Man Show, by the way, the psychic. It just reminded me. Do you ever just go, not feeling it? I got nothing for you. And if you don't, you should, because I've always had this theory, which is women who fake orgasms should hold one back every like 7 orgasms and just go, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And then the guy would believe her.
Yeah.
But if he's got 5,000 orgasms uninterrupted, at some point he might get suspicious. And so if you were trying to add some validity, every once in a while you just go, I got nothing. Or do you? Do you sometimes have nothing or feel nothing?
Sometimes, depending on the person, I will say. Like, depending on the person. And like, nothing to people could be if they're coming to hear from, I'm using this as an example, like a brother or mom or dad, and someone else comes through, to them, that's nothing to them. So they're like, that's a failed reading.
Do you ever get, like, my mom passed, I don't know, 3 years ago, and she wasn't that complimentary toward me, you know? And so if you were talking to my mom, you know, you might have some stuff to pass along. Like she can see that I've gained weight, or my last stand-up show wasn't that funny. She was hovering around the theater. Like, it wouldn't be good. It would be non-complimentary is what I'm saying. You ever get any message where you go, oh, I don't want to deliver that message. It's going to be hurtful to this person?
Definitely. Their personalities are the same when they come through. So if they weren't, like if I was reading someone and I was saying their mom is the nicest person, they're like, that's not true. My mom was the biggest asshole I've ever met. Then people would be like, this is like full shit. Like, you're fake, like, or whatever. So yeah, there are a lot of times where messages or stuff come through that aren't like lovey-dovey or nice, I would say, a lot of the time.
I was a psychic at in a Man Show bit that I won't bore you guys with, but I will show you the first 30 seconds of it so you can just see
I remember
who
this.
I am.
I remember this.
Do you have any questions for Tobias?
Any business dealings, affairs of the heart?
My relationship's going pretty good. She just moved out from Boston to live with me in California. Not more than 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Doomed.
Doomed?
That will not last.
No?
Doomed.
Will I keep the dog at least?
Doomed. No, the dog will die as well. But that's all right.
All right.
Yes. I mean, it's all right for Tobias. It's hell for you. It's hell.
I won't know how long I live on her or by getting married again. You know?
You're gonna live. You're gonna be hit by a UPS truck on this rollerblade, and somewhere in the next 10 minutes. Yes, this is more like it. Yes. Do you model?
Yes.
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 Eating disorder?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Laxatives? Yes. Do you have a tongue?
Yes.
Barbell on your tongue?
Yes.
Let Tobias see this? Yes. Yes. That is to pleasure a man. Yes.
No, it's for me.
For you?
Yeah.
To pleasure a man?
No, it's just for me.
To pleasure a man? Oh my God. Yeah. Now, I will guess how much money's in your wallet, yes? You have $2 in your wallet, yes?
No.
Open your wallet. Holy Christ. See, what business are you in?
I'm in the lounge business.
Holy
I just sit around and lounge.
Seriously, you need a BJ?
God.
That's got $300. How much is in your wallet, yes?
Try.
$23.
You're minus 11.
Yes.
You missed by 11.
Yes, but if you add the dime bag that you have in there to that, you're $23, yes? All right, we got it. Yeah, I would just go set up down in Venice Beach and we'd go recruit people to sit with me. And all
Were
I would
those
do
like
is
random
insult
people?
them. Just randos.
Oh, cool.
We just we'd set up. I'd sit down, and then you'd have someone with a clipboard just like walk around and find goofballs and go, "Hey, you want to be on the Man Show?" And they go, "I don't know." Then they go, "Sign this." Because you had to get the release first. Because
Right.
once you roasted them, they wouldn't.
They didn't want it. Yeah.
They didn't want the. Some of them would, but most wouldn't. So you try to get
That's
them
fair.
sign that release. And then you just walk around. Then you talk to like 15 people, and then after about 5 hours, you go, "I think we got 3 minutes worth of shit," and then
Oh,
you just
really?
leave. Yeah. And then you'd
wow.
sit in an edit bay and go, "That guy was no good. That guy wasn't funny. Oh, that chick was funny."
So
know?
you would like film for 12 hours and only take 3 minutes of it?
Yeah.
we do. I've shot bits that were multi-day shoots in multi-locations down at the county fair, on the beach, my dad's house, my house, on it, to whack together a like 3.5 minute bit.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, literally, I remember being at like the county fair on a Friday night, like all night, just shooting just so we could get a montage of us on the rides and doing all the things. Yeah, we'd go out.
TV stuff. Yeah.
TV stuff. If you want to do it right, I mean, we were like, we're going to get everything we want,
Right.
you know, and we have a budget and we have an art team and we're going to do it. Sometimes you could just go down to Melrose, do a man on the street thing, film for 4 hours or something and pack it in. But some stuff was multi-day stuff.
That's crazy.
Oh, I mean, Jimmy, I mean, if you ever look at Jimmy when he married a monkey,
Yeah.
he's like got the beginning scene with his wife and kids at the house, and then later on he finds the runaway monkey, and then later on he's at a cocktail party, and Bill Maher has his own monkey that he's dating as well, and he gives him that one, which always made me laugh. And then later on he's out in the streets of like Griffith Park, and Giuseppe, the monkey owner, finds him and takes the monkey away. Like he's getting a massage from the monkey. He's having sex with the monkey. I mean, these are all different locations shot over like multiple days for a 3.5 minute bit, and then you got to go sit in the edit bay after that.
That's fucking crazy. Were you on Bully Beatdown?
Yeah. I was gonna say in Bully Beatdown, I would interview the guy for like 2-3 hours, and it would be a 2-minute clip. It would be 2 minutes of me interviewing the guy because you need the best. Sometimes by the end of it, I figured it out enough where it will be an hour of interview, and I got all the beats ready to go, and I get all the funny bits, and we're out of there. We're done. Yeah, moving on. TV is some magic. Yeah.
Yeah, like I did not know you could spend 12 hours for a 4-minute or 3-minute clip. Like that's so much footage.
You can spend 3 days.
Yeah.
Just
doing
nuts.
it.
That's just like nuts to me, just to have like that much footage to combine it in like such a.
Well, I don't know if they would do that today. Like back then, they had a budget.
Right.
We had a staff, and we were like. Everyone, thinks this is, chicks on trampolines and us chugging beer, but the bits have to be good.
Right.
And they got to look good, and they got to sound good. Like we would score music, and, when I became Benny Hill, we got the lens and the camera that they shot Benny Hill on.
Oh, shit.
And we needed the actual camera, so it looked like the Benny Hill bits and all that. Jimmy marries a monkey.
Yeah, it's funny what people remember, but the reason that show is so iconic is because you guys put so much effort into it.
Well, I'll show you a little bit of it, and we'll fast forward to it, but you can just see how much is into it.
Oh, good. Microwave taquitos again.
Look, I had a busy day buying shoes.
There are animals on the Discovery Channel that treat their mates better than this.
Well, maybe you should marry one of them.
Well, maybe I will. Maybe I will. Kids?
Oh, you have to get a monkey wrangler, too.
Yeah.
What happened to old Mommy?
She went back to Poland. Now, never mention her name again, okay?
Okay.
Wow. Gina never cleaned the windows.
All right.
Now let me ask you this.
Fast forward to the cocktail party.
Is this one of the chimps from Chimp Crazy?
We had a guy
Monkey actors?
We had a guy who did chimps.
I killed him.
She said a cocktail party.
Bill Maher.
All right, we're good. I don't know why I love the idea that Bill was at the cocktail party and he's also dating a monkey. And they give the knowing nod as he hangs with his monkey. But that was we'd have to get Bill Maher and another monkey for Bill and find a home, and we're going to have extras and a cocktail party, and Jimmy needs a tuxedo and Bill needs a tuxedo, and it just...
I guess, that's a lot. I've never been in the TV space, so all of that is just like so like
well, Tobias says you will one day. Oh, yes, Tobias is having a very
Hey, let me ask
time.
you this. If I die in Wisconsin, can I talk to my dad through you in Vegas? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What? Is that how the ether world works? I don't understand.
Yeah,
how
it's
can
like
you talk to Gabby when she died in Utah?
Because they follow family, right? So it's like if you're here and someone's there, like they're not gonna watch you when you're like, doing stuff, like jerking off or whatever, right? Like
that's a shame.
I definitely would not want my parents to watch that shit.
Oh no!
Yeah, but like
my ancestors, I'm making them sad, and they're turning their back on me. I'm beating off, pleasuring myself.
Pleasuring, much better.
Yeah, but really, they travel at the speed of light. So if they're like, if you're here, they're gonna come and just be with you, right? Like they can travel with you. They're not gonna just stay where they died and stuff. Like if they. Oh,
sorry.
No.
Yeah, no. Continue, but then I had a question.
Okay. So yeah, like if you go to a cemetery, they're not at the cemetery.
Wait, so they're not omnipotent. They're like moving around.
They're just like a ball of energy is like the best way I can explain it. They're not like it's not like when you see a ghost in a movie. They're not like coming to shape like that. They
multi-dimensional or something.
They're not multi-dimensional. They're not going to come through how like I see you two, right? Like they're going to come through like a ball of energy, right? Like in my like images in my head and stuff. They're not going to. It would be nice if they came through like that because it would make my life easier and sure other people's, but that's not how they come through.
In terms of, last question for you.
Sure.
In terms of the people that participate in this, is it 70% women? Is it 44% men? It seems like women are more into this, but how does it break down in your experience?
It definitely used to be for me more women than men. Now it's fairly 50-50.
Interesting.
It's because I read a lot of like the military community, the law enforcement community, and yes, there's women in those as well, but it's predominantly men.
But when you're dealing with law enforcement or military,
no, but like even outside of like working on cases, men come to me because I guess they just feel more comfortable with, I guess, myself versus another one if they just want to like experience it or try it.
But in general mediums, is it? It feels like it was the realm of women.
100%.
And now it's like bracelets. I didn't know guys who wore a bunch of fucking bracelets when I was a guy, but now half the douchebags I see have 14 bracelets on. And by the way, people, stop complimenting them on their gay bracelets because that makes them buy another bracelet. They go, oh, wow, thank you. They're not doing that. They're just making small talk. When anyone compliments a bracelet, they don't like the bracelet. They're just making talk in a fucking elevator. So have that stop inspiring you to buy more. But guys didn't have bracelets. They had the medic alert thing or some shit like that, but they didn't have a bushel of bracelets, and now guys all have bracelets. So it's sort of the same way with the medium, right? Like the guys, that wasn't the guy that my wife talks to. That guy, I don't talk to. And now guys are kind of in.
Yeah, I would probably
bracelets.
say more. Yeah, like bracelets. I would say probably more so from COVID. I've noticed it, like the timing of COVID.
Interesting.
Like, yeah, I know that it's been more like a 50-50 since COVID for like a majority, I guess, of other people that are mediums and stuff. But I've noticed it with me when I started working with law enforcement. It's like when I noticed it personally through my experience, not through anyone else's, I guess.
Well, the name of the pod is Connect with Jonathan Mark, and it's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you find finer podcasts. JonathanMark.net is where you go if you want any info from you.
Yep.
Covina going to be there doing stand-up October 25th and 26th, 4 shows at the Laugh Factory, and then it'll be at Jimmy's Place in Vegas, and then Bellflower, beautiful, picturesque Bellflower. Do stand-up there, just one night, I think November 2nd, 2 shows. You go to adamcarolla.com for all the live stuff, and Jericho, you can go watch Terrifier 3 if you got the huevos to do it. Jonathan Mark and Chris Jericho and Mayhem Miller, thank you guys for all coming by, and until next time, this is Adam Carolla saying mahalo.